Okay, so welcome everyone.
Welcome back.
So this is the first time we're doing a video without the previous one being out. So we don't. Fuck, I'm keeping it in my desk, so the camera is constantly shaking. What the fuck?
No.
I have to be gentle with the desk.
Oh.
Just gentle caresses, not.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see this trembling. You'll see this all trembling. Yes. But they can stabilize it.
And then we shake everyone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
Just keep it.
how this week's been doing for you?
What?
How was your week?
No, non mi è... Ah, ok. Mi è andato via l'audio. My week is beginning to look a lot like Christmas. No, it started very bad, honestly. You know, sometimes doing this freelancer job, you wake up and you don't want to wake up. You want to stay on the bed, laying down, crying, asking yourself why you start to doing that instead of having a stable job. So it was a bit tough yesterday, Monday. You look like you're doing a selfie now.
No worries.
And it was a bit tough, honestly. But it's something that I'm experiencing this resiliency, you know. You start to, I mean, also with COVID, it's not easy in any case, it's not easy, and I'm facing a bad moment in general. And Lara, non mettere troppa acqua, sta bagnando le piante. Che poi esce.
I hate you for I have to put subtitles each time in this section, as you know. I hate you so much for this.
Sorry. Yeah, but it's nice, no? It's just to have something different in the video.
Definitely.
No, yeah, I was saying it's been tough, and it is tough now with COVID, and people don't want to invest so much money. So I have started in the worst moment ever to do photography, but I'm pushing, I'm keep going. And what about you?
Yeah, so more or less the same as you. COVID is this huge sword on your neck, you know. But on the other hand, I feel like because there's COVID and so many people are saying, okay, that's not the right time to start. Of course, you have all the previous people or all the previous companies and photographers and video makers, whatever, that they are already there, established in the market, so they already have their clients, etc. But a lot of people are not coming into this hobby right now. Not hobby, sorry. Definitely not.
Comunque ti sento proprio di
Ma
merda.
anche ti sento di merda, guarda che c'è qualcosa alle cuffie.
È che non ho altre cuffie.
Ma capisci quello che dico almeno o proprio zero?
Sì, capisco, ma fa tipo... E quindi tipo metà delle parole che dici le perdo.
Perché ci rimbomba se togli le cuffie perché si sente il mio volume, no?
Sì, aspetta che provo a disattivarle. E poi le riconnetto magari.
Comunque è uscita l'acqua.
Te l'ho detto che è uscita l'acqua.
Scusa, ho intanto fatto la cosa per le technical difficulties.
Aspetta che... Pronto? Mi senti?
Mi senti?
Io sì, tu?
Ti sento un po' meglio di prima, effettivamente. Non ti sento più così ovattato.
Io ti sento comunque di merda. Vabbè.
Fantastic. So we'll keep on like nothing's happening, I think. But yeah, as I was saying, with COVID, not many people are starting freelancing, are starting with this career. So it seems like, to me at least, that a lot of job openings are getting there. I mean, are being created. you just have to find the right spot for you, I think, in general. And this is general for any type of freelancing right now. Not so many people are prepared, as you said, to leave the stable job to become, I would say, an entrepreneur. For once you're freelancing, you're actually an entrepreneur. So you have to have guts right now to start this path, to start down this path. And so I think, as you said, resilience is the most important thing right now. So this is a bad moment, but I think if we can get through this and start in this right moment, then going forward it should be at least not worse. Okay, I'm imagining someone that has started, I would say, a couple of years ago, so it was just starting, it has just planned all this business, etc., and then COVID hits, and that's the worst possible situation then in that case. But for us, instead, we are starting in difficult moments, so we are already facing, and all the network that we are creating, we are already creating in a new way. For example, for me as a colorist, the new thing is working remotely. Okay, it's not a new thing. I mean, it was already done in the past. It was something that already existed, but more and more cinematographers and directors are getting used to the idea of not being able to get to the color lab and being there with the colorist in the Lightroom to edit the footage. Okay, so we are starting to develop, also the ways to compare the footage. For, of course, having different monitors will result in a different experience. So, a director might say, okay, I see these a bit too warm or too cold, or, the skin tones to me are looking a bit too magenta or whatever. And it's difficult to understand if, for example, in that case, it's just that the footage is wrong, or it's just that the monitor is not calibrated. So we're coming up with new ways. For example, an iPad is a brilliant way to solve this problem. I don't know how Apple does it, but more or less, if you remove the Apple color, whatever color profile, and you leave the iPad on standard, then the colors are more or less the same on any device that you use. So if you just have the footage on the iPad and the director has it on the same device, then you can have at least a similar experience in terms of color.
Yeah. True. Yeah, but I'm also
okay, I don't hear you now.
Talk with some
other.
What?
Mamma mia!
So resiliency. Yeah.
I don't know where the previous recording will cut, so I hope they will be able to understand what we were saying before. But yeah, basically resilience, being able to adapt to the situation and find new ways to interact with the client, even if it's at a distance.
I was connecting to this discussion, and I was saying that I talked with other freelancers in this period, and I discovered a thing that in this moment, also because I'm completely changing my life, and I need to be super positive and super active in any kind of ways and field. I discovered that many photographers in this moment are super unmotivated. They are so scared about economical issues, and in general the market is quite stable, and no one wants to invest so much money, as I said before. But it's not true in some ways, because if you try to be propositive and keeping a bit of empathy.
Yeah, empathy.
Yes. Yeah. If you have a bit of empathy, and you try to approach brands and clients in general with a bit of calm, saying that of course you are facing some problems and they are facing problems too, maybe you will find something. In this moment I didn't find so many jobs, honestly, or not jobs that will start in a few days, let's say, but at least they are keeping and saving my contacts, and it's already something. And so one thing that I would like to say, if you're watching this video because you're a freelancer or because you don't know what to do in your life, try to be positive and keep pushing in what you want to do, because it's really, really important for you, at least, because otherwise you will start to be lost and you will start to go around doing nothing seriously, and it's not a good thing. So
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, on one hand, I feel like it was a an incredibly successful period, the last 4 to 5 years for video makers, with an expanding market in terms of anyone that has even a small activity now wants a video reel for his activity, or now wanted a video reel for his activity, or wanted to have an Instagram profile, a successful Instagram profile. Then being a photographer, I wouldn't say became a bit easier, and the same I mean for colorists, but at least the market expanded a lot. So instead of, I would say, old school freelancers that were used to the fact that, you know, you might have a big gig in that lasts a week and gives you basically the money for the next 3 months, and then for the next 3 months you're stuck and you can find a job, and that was more or less the normality back I would say 10 years ago, or even 6 years ago. Then in the last 5 years, he had way more jobs, but smaller ones. So basically, you didn't have these long periods of quiet and stillness. And so when COVID started and you had this contraction, possibly many people got scared, simply because they were not used to, on one side, collect the having the ability to keep some money aside for once you have less jobs, and on the other, simply they were used to have smaller jobs, and a lot of smaller jobs instead of big gigs, single big gigs.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that I'm facing right now. So rather than having few small jobs, I'm having big hits, okay, in some ways, and then long periods of quiet. And possibly this connects to what we talked last time. So big fish, small fish. There's no midpoint right now. So you either have the small fish that wants to spend $100 and no more than that on a photo shoot or on a video, and then most of the time you have to say no to them, simply because with $100
you
wants to another it can work for an hour. Okay, I come, and the time I get there and I set my gear up, it's already gone basically. Or on the other hand, you have the super big fish, then it's ready to pay you a lot, but then it's, I wouldn't say a one-time for, if you do the job right, then it can be something that you do constantly. But usually big fish like that have a solid marketing plan that involves maybe one photo shoot every 3 months or every 4 months, just for, if it's a brand, for example, a new collection, and then there's a long period in which they just focus on pushing on the content they already have. So that's the dance that you have to do right now, possibly finding the nice midpoint and being able to save, to have some savings for the long periods of stillness. But on the other hand, having these long periods helped me a lot, for it gave me a lot of time to improve myself. Okay. I'm spending a lot of time starting researching, basically updating my knowledge, and this is possibly a continuation of what we talked last time. I mean, last time we talked about the previous studies that we did, how we use them with our background, and so that helps. But of course, you have to start putting down the study for the new fields that you're in, no matter what.
Yeah.
And so having so much spare time gives you that ability. One thing that I'm struggling possibly is to balance, I might have days in which I study a lot and I work not so much, and days when I work a lot and I even not study at all. And so going forward, I'm trying to have a balance with it. So I'm starting to say, okay, I want to study 2 hours a day, no matter what I want. I know that for those 2 hours a day, that might even be, after dinner, I just spend 2 hours on my desk just studying. But I want that to be consistent. And that comes from the university years, and I think that's the same for you. Studying with continuity, at least to me, works better than having a super burst into a topic and then leave it and just don't watch it for 2 days to 1 week. So you're definitely definitely studying a lot in these times and trying to squeeze basically all that I can in the spare time that I have.
Yeah, it's not even studying. It's like almost spending time doing or reading or watching something nice for me. It's like an hobby. I notice that every time that I have a bit of free time from other things, I watch workshops, watch videos, read books about photography, and for me, it's not even studying stuff. It's like completely investing my time doing something that I really enjoy in that moment, and plus I'm learning. So that's a really good thing, honestly, because at the end of the day you're not even tired because of that. You just maybe sometimes I used to read something when I'm at bed, or I read also stories about maybe not how to photograph or how to do that and that, but I just read stories about people that live real stories, real adventures, and that helped me a lot also to improve my creativity. And I think another good point to talk about today is creativity, because I noticed that with a lot of free time, I'm investing a lot of effort in improve my creativity. And I noticed that if I stay stuck on Instagram, for example, watching every time the same pictures and people that try to emulate other pictures, every time is so boring, and your creativity is draining down, and at the end of the day you're like, oh no, I want to do that because other people are doing that, and I can't because I live in the city and I'm not on the mountain, for example, or I'm not living in the middle of forest or in Costa Rica. And so I'm trying to fight this thing. You watch Instagram searching for inspiration, but the real inspiration is on yourself or inside you. And if you read in magazine, books, and watch films, movie, whatever, and documentaries also, and you start to try to represent something. If you're for example, now I'm trying to express more the storytelling part inside of my photography, and to do that is not just watching images online. It's more about reading stories to understand how stories are made, how they are built, and try to use my mind to recreate scenarios. For example, when I was reading Harry Potter, for example, I was imagining the castle, the characters, and all the aspects that you are reading in that moment, but they are not visualized. So you have a bit of fantasy, and then you can recreate these characters and this environment in your mind. So in this moment, I'm trying to invest some time improving that, improving the creativity part, improving the storytelling part, and trying to think how can I eventually shoot a specific moment, or how I can maybe talk about some artisan here around in Zurich, for example. And I know that's not a job, it's not giving me anything, but at least it's giving me the experience to create something different. And now I'm applying to some brands proposing this thing. I'm proposing a story, that I can tell a story through my photography. And that's, I think that a lot of people forget about to improve the creativity. Because, for example, here in Zurich, I noticed a lot of photographers, for example, in architecture field, they just go out and shoot the architecture and then go home, and they have earned money and that's it, fine, finished, no, nothing else. And no, I don't want to do that. No, I want to try to every time create something different, try to investigate, try to explore new ways to do photography. For example, architecture is super boring in the appearance, but you can always do photography, architectural photography, during the morning or in the evening, and during that time of the day, the architecture will change. We change the person that will pass by, that will change the lights, will change also the season, because you can shoot in different time of the year. And that is super important, and that can keep your creativity super in a new level every time.
Yeah, a lot like Monet with the different paintings that he did. Yeah, I totally get the point. Yes.
I think you can also do something similar. I mean, you can do your basic edit. You do basic color, for example, for a person that maybe don't want to explore stuff, but by yourself, you can recreate style. You can invent style. You can think about, I don't know, maybe drawings, old drawings and or old movies, and try to recreate the same feeling. And that's something that maybe not now, maybe in 1 year, 10 years will come again, because I think in every kind of field, creativity is a process, and a certain time style will change. And I don't think you have to, and also talking about me, I don't think we have to follow styles, but at least we have to test something different each time to improve ourselves and to find nice ways that nowadays and in 10 years will be always good. And but this, I think you can achieve that goal only exploring your creativity, and or also studying is something that can explore your creativity.
Yeah, so I mentioned study because in my field at least, there are a lot of technicalities that's basically you have to,
sure, of course.
on which you also have to comply. For example, if you want to be able to upload to Netflix, for example, you have to meet certain standards even in terms of the hardware that you're using. Okay, you have to have certain hardware, certain software. You have, for example, to have a Dolby license to basically master in Dolby Vision, so that basically they can account for all different stuff. So you literally have to start in that case, and I have.
You need to know those stuff.
I basically have notebooks in which I keep, all my. It's sort of an handbook that I'm creating for, I know Netflix needs these. Sorry. Netflix needs these, Amazon needs these, maybe YouTube, I work a lot with YouTube, Instagram. They all have different specs they want you to meet, and it's very, very important as a colorist or as a post-producer in general to know what the standards are, so that you can also, in a way, teach the client. For most of the time, I find myself telling the client, okay, if we want to export to for this platform, then you have to meet these standards. And this is also, again, something that can separate you from others. So if you show that you are knowledgeable and you know your field, then you'll be incredibly more employable than a person that says, okay, tell me what to do and I'll do it, but you have to teach them everything. Okay, it makes even the work of the production easier. For if we have to master in HDR, they know that they'll have to expose in a different way if you want to master in SDR, for example. So all this stuff, and that's why I talk more about study. But yeah, I can definitely feel what you're saying in terms of, even if it's more technical for me than creative, it's still something that I really enjoy, and so it's not that difficult on a certain level. I mean, as I said, I do that most of the time after dinner, so in the evening when I'm most tired, but simply because it's not something that, I mean, I'll take notes, I'll listen to that, I'll study that, but it's something I do with light-hearted in a way. I enjoy doing this. I really enjoy all the. Again, I'm a bit of a weird person, but I enjoy all the technicalities and being very technical and specific on every topic. So for me, it's more of an hobby, as you said.
Yeah.
And on the creativity aspect, definitely I'm researching a lot in my field. Possibly I look more for other people's work, basically, simply because unfortunately in my field the fashion, the style of the moment is what the client will ask you. I mean, if a certain type of color grade is what is going on, or a certain type of edit is what is going on, the client will ask you to go for that. Fortunately, in my experience, I found people that were more prone to, doing something different, doing something apart from what was mainstream at the moment. So I was able to, do somewhat of creative work. One in particular, for example, was I posted that a couple of months ago on Instagram. It was a sort of a retro black and white, but with just bits of color. It was for a luxury star plane sort of show off. In that case, since the plane unfortunately had some bits of color, but not that much, having the black and white and just bits of color that points you right at the plane helped a lot, bringing it out of the image. And so having this talk with the client helped me even sell the gig, sell my idea to them. But yeah, that was more of a creative process. I went and basically looked for different type of videos, luxury videos, and what they did to emphasize. And one that stuck with me was the Xylo commercial. I think basically it's a club, a golf club brand. They make golf clubs, and golf clubs are mainly black and grey, of course. They are just pieces of aluminum, but they have this the logo, the Xylo logo is blue and yellow, and basically it's embedded in each head of the club. So they basically went for this black and white with just a bit of color, and that's what inspired me. I found that it focused. So I'm researching a lot. Basically, I'm looking anywhere for new inspiration. And fortunately, on one hand, working with clients helps you find new references for. A client might point you to a certain brand or a certain, for example, in one case was a magazine, a motorcycle magazine, which produces a lot of short films for motorcycles, but they have incredible works in terms of color. It's called the Meta motorcycle, and they do incredible works in terms of edit, in terms of sound design, in terms of color. And so you basically have them in my favorite bar on Google Chrome now. And every now and then I go there and check if they have something new for. It's always a good inspiration. So yeah, definitely improving in creativity, but also researching a lot in terms of what's the history of color, what's the history And again, even studying, art in general during different ages, how different painters used light, use color, chiaroscuro. I mean, for example, chiaroscuro in the classical age and neoclassical age was a big thing. And researching a lot of, for example, Caravaggio for me helped a ton in understanding how to work properly with light. And that is more true possibly for even, I'm thinking to a DOP that wants to learn how to light a scene and make a certain mood. Then researching art can be an incredible plus for them. I mean, any creative. I'm even thinking to cooking right now when you have to compose a dish, plate, and the composition. Even in that case, studying art can help you for at least understanding how colors will fill together. How composing, utilizing the space so that it's not too much, but it's not even too less.
Yeah.
Okay, all this stuff are combined together, and I think any field that needs creativity can improve by just looking at previous work, at different artists in every other field possibly.
Yeah, no. Anyway, I think it's really important to find this kind of balance between. I mean, sometimes studying and creativity are the same thing, I think, because if you don't study, you don't learn new stuff. You don't learn new techniques, and if you don't learn new ways to do something, you will not learn how to be more creative in another way. So we mentioned about paintings, for example, and this kind of influence that you can have from other jobs, or other paintings, other images, other films, is a bit critic, because there is this thin line between be influenced and learn from that what you're watching, and those two things are really quite similar, I have to say, because sometimes you watch images, for example, and then you say, nice, I want to do the same, and then you try to create something similar, like achieving the same light or achieving the same composition, but sometimes I need to be very precise in don't going to the copying part. I don't want to copy, and so I don't know if in your field, in the colorist field, there is something similar, because sometimes I think I really want to achieve some style, or some, not style, but some results of an image, because I really like the soft light, I really like the composition, but of course I'm not in the same place, or maybe sometimes yes, because it's the word. And but I have to, sometimes I have to fight with myself to find this balance, because I want to do that image, but no, I want also to do something different. And there is this kind of balance between creativity and copying the image that for me sometimes it's really tough to fight. And I don't know if in your field you had the same feeling sometimes.
So in this case, possibly it goes back to the fact that most of the time the final word is not up to me, but it's up to the director or the DOP. So basically it's up to what they like. But one thing that I started remembering when you talked about this is about the new Blade Runner movie, so Blade Runner 2049. Basically, when the movie came out, everyone got super excited about low light, having everything so compressed. So basically, if you watch Blade Runner, most of the film, if you have your waveform, at least your histogram, which has from 0 light to 100% of light, most of the film is under 50%. Okay, so it's all squished in the low light. Of course, you have bits of highlights here and there, but most of the time it's squished to the low light. simply because they wanted to achieve this dark mood that they had going on, of course, in this future, in this dystopic future, where this city that are so crowded and in a way that are pushing on you. So even having all these lights very very crushed on you, in a way, help that feeling. And so what happened there is that possibly anyone started to do that. Okay, they started to, in commercials or whatever, they started compressing everything down. But the point is that you have to think about what you're doing. For one thing is understanding why they did something. And so you get the technical aspect and get the creative aspect of that. And the other thing is being able to replicate it in a smart way. So, for example, I started seeing people shooting underexposed for they said, okay, we want to achieve that, so in camera it has to look like that. And
No.
I was like, no, you have to expose properly. That's something that you do. Of course, with the lighting, you have to use soft lights, for example, for if you have hard lights and hard shadows, then it will look crap. But you have to have the detail in the camera. You have to have the detail in the footage. Otherwise, when you compress it, it won't look good. It won't look crushed, but it will just look black with no detail. And so that, for me, that's how I can feel what you're saying. So the ability to listen, to watch, basically, what a person is doing, what a DOP is doing, understand why he's doing it, and replicate it in a constructive way. So, understand more the technique and the why in terms of creativity and in terms of feeling that they want to give to the audience, but not just replicate it for the sake of saying, okay, I'm able to do so, or for the sake of, okay, that's what people like nowadays, so I'll do it anyway. For example, if you're shooting a Christmas commercial, you can't use that style. Okay, if you're shooting a Christmas commercial for a Christmas dish or whatever, you want to have very highlights. Okay, you have, I don't want to say a high key footage, but you want to have lights, colors, all this stuff. For you want to bring joy, you want to bring a certain feeling of happiness, holidays, warmth, of family, all this stuff that you cannot have with that type of color grading from Blade Runner. And I know this seems far-fetched, but I'm talking about real thing that happened in the past. So basically, footage I've seen of a certain commercial that was shot like it was commercial for Pandoro, so a typical Christmas sweet dish. But basically, this house looked from an old movie. Okay, it was a Christmas commercial with this house with all low lights. It literally looked like it was from another movie. And when I watched, I know the colorist that did that gig, and I talked to him and said, I mean, how did he pull that out? For I knew that it was not his fault. Okay, it was, the problem was in how they recorded it. For the lights were literally not there. I asked him how you pull out for. Literally, there was no light to play with. There was nothing to play with, and he said, yeah, it was a nightmare to do. So yeah, definitely.
I can imagine.
Definitely getting the creativity, but more of the creative intent of what a people is doing, so that next time that you will have to work on something, okay, if I want to achieve this mood, this feeling, I have to go this way, but then you can make it yours. You can make it your own in a way.
Yeah, the study behind some images or some movies is super important. I mean, when you are watching something, I think it's really critical, because you have to use your skill to understand what they did, because no one are coming to you saying, hey, I did this and this and this to achieve this result. So you have to be really smart and use your skill and use your knowledge to understand how they manage this composition. Why, for example, the subject is sitting in the center of image in the first third, and why the lighting is like that, because sometimes you want to achieve the same light, but as you say, people trying to underexpose, overexpose. or maybe you're completely shooting in a different moment of the day or different moment of the year, because also the light that you can have, for example, in summer, in the and at the sunset, for example, is completely different from the one that you have in the winter, for example. So yeah, that's a good point. We can maybe make a kind of video next time or in future where we analyze something.
Yeah, that would
Together.
definitely be something nice. I mean, for also we have, again, you are more on the creative side, I'm more on the technical side, so we can bring two different points of view in terms of the feeling that is giving us, and more possibly the how they shoot that. For example, in my case, when I was really stoked with the Joaquin Phoenix Joker movie.
Yeah.
And one scene that stuck to me incredibly, and I think that that's true for anyone possibly, is the stair scene, okay? When he's going down the stairs.
The beautiful one.
Yeah, basically, when I watched this scene, I felt like, okay, I haven't spoke with Jill Bogdanovich, so I don't know if that's true or not, but to me, they built the color grade of that entire film around that scene, okay? For the way that scene is able to basically get the Joker in your face, okay, is literally punched out of the image. And of course, that was a combined job of, DOP, costume design, lighting, color grading, all this stuff all came together. But knowing also having seen a lot of interviews from the cinematographer Joker, and not only from the colorist, I know how they tend to approach their job. So to me, I feel like they literally went to create the character basically, and once the character was there, they went to that scene, which is possibly even in terms of storytelling a very a crucial line for it's the metamorphosis, is when it becomes the Joker. Possibly he finally realized that he's the Joker, and he's finally free to be himself, and they constructed everything around there, so that everything else that it's building, okay, the entire film is built into that scene, builds so that scene is incredible and stunning, and I'm in love with the scene. I'm in love with that movie, the color, everything. So
okay, I know.
Yeah, and so to me, again, since I've started down this path, I've totally changed the way I look at movies. Possibly, in a way, I find myself enjoying a lot less movie now. I'm finding, and know this for everyone. I'm basically criticizing everything that I see, but no, jokes aside, when I go and watch a movie, okay, sometimes I just want to enjoy it, and so but it's difficult to me to disconnect my brain and not starting to look at what they're doing, both in terms of edit, in terms of lighting, why they're lighting a scene a certain way. And again, on one side, I feel like a lot of movies, I'm enjoying them a bit less in terms of maybe storytelling, etc. But on the other hand, I'm enjoying way more what they're doing in terms of technicalities and use of the light and the color. For to me at least, it's incredibly beautiful to be able to understand what you're doing. For in a way, I can see the struggle behind the scene and the effort that went on to get that particular shot, okay, to get that particular scene as it looked. So yeah, definitely that's one aspect that I'm looking at a lot of times. So the trying to reconstruct in my mind how they did something and why they did it. So that's a lot of all the study I'm actually doing right now, possibly.
That's also a good exercise for everyone in general, for every kind of field. You spend some time studying, but not only studying techniques and studying on books, for example, but studying references and invest time studying those references. Super useful.
Yeah, definitely. For again, of course, you have to have the technicalities down in terms of you have to be you have to have the basic knowledge to understand how
Yeah.
something is achieved. But for example,
But
for
you know,
me,
it's a process. Sometimes you study on books and then you study on images and then you learn again something, and then you come back and say, hey, how can I achieve maybe a wide angle using 15 millimeter, for example, and then you start to understand and discover new techniques to achieve this particular effects. And again, it's like a circle.
yeah,
Sometimes,
definitely,
for example,
definitely.
once I saw this image that was really wide angle. I mean, not like a GoPro wide angle, but was a wide angle shot, but with a compression of 15 millimeter. I was asking, how is it possible? And then I discovered this kind of composing panorama on the image that you can take some pictures, and then you compose in Lightroom, and then you have you achieve the entire scene with a one image, but with an realistic point of view, because 50 millimeter is quite similar to our point of view, and that was super revealing for me, because you know, if you want to take as much as possible of the environment, you use a wide lens. And I never thought about this thing, but I never read about this thing. I discovered because I watch, I look at an image, and then I came back and say, hey, how can I merge some photos? And then I start to understand that there's these techniques that no one talks about, because you know, it's a bit complicated. You can use it in specific moments. You cannot use in every kind of field. And yeah, that was really important for me, and I not using so much, but yeah. By the way, I think this becoming a movie.
How long has it been? Oh, 40 minutes,
recording.
yes. I didn't say
Yeah.
that. So, yeah, but to wrap this up, possibly.
YouTube will aid us.
Yeah. I was going to cut
six
it, but
people
no.
that want to view this video.
Yeah, exactly. And by the way, since you mentioned, I'm actually exporting the audio file, so we'll probably be finally on Spotify or iTunes or whatever as a podcast,
cool.
possibly. That would be nice, I think. So we can have 3 more people listening to us instead of watching.
I have to do a thing, because meanwhile I stopped recording and started recording again. So
And you didn't
I
clap.
have to sync. Yeah, but we can do
Fuck
it
you.
in the end, and then you can go to the end of the video, you sync, and then you go back, no? So Alessandro.
Fuck.
You were speaking.
Yeah, appreciate that too so much. No, but by the way, don't worry. But yeah, as I said, to wrap this up, possibly one thing that references can help you do is to understand that there are rules, there are techniques, but then there are ways to bend and possibly completely break the rules
Yeah.
to achieve a certain mood, a certain feeling. And to me, for example, Tarantino, on this matter, is the king of breaking the rules of directing. For example, when the way he moves the camera is completely off the book. Okay, for example, the first scene from Inglourious Basterds, that's basically a 10-minute long 2 people talking. Okay, a 10-minute long conversation between 2 people, which would be incredibly boring. If you just listen to the audio, it's incredibly boring. Okay, without the music, without the context, it's the most boring thing. But with the way that Tarantino moves the camera, it makes it interesting, and it does it by basically disrupting all that should be the correct way to move the camera. So again, references and understand references to build an understanding of how you can achieve a certain feeling. That's to me the most important thing that you can do right now.
Yeah.
But with that out of the way, the shock news is that let's see, do we have a shock news? No, we don't. So I wanted to end this with a shock news, but we don't have one.
I bought the 15 to 35 millimeter Canon 2.8. You hear me?
YouTube?
Huh? 15 to 35 millimeter 2.8 L Canon.
And with this shocking news, we can wrap this up completely. So, as always, you can subscribe to the channel if you want to see more of this utter complete ramble and chit chat with no possible meaning. You can like this video if you like and if you enjoy watching us talking of nonsense.
But even if you don't like this video, just put a like. It's fine for us.
Yeah, I mean, we are fine with lies. Okay, we don't care too much about honesty, in complete honesty. And no, one thing we would like to see is comments down below, basically telling us your story if you want. That will be something that we would appreciate so much. But yeah, we'll see you next time. And as always, be safe, take care, and from me and
Mamma mia.
Mamma mia!
We didn't set a specific moment for the intro, so we can put the intro at the end.
Mamma mia!
But yeah, thank you so much for watching. As always, take care.
Thank
be
you
safe.
guys. See
Bye
you
bye.
next week. Ciao. Facciamo clap clap.
Sì.
Alessandro!
Riccardo. Ok.
Sotto si sente l'aria che
No,
stordisce.
sono corso di là apposta, non sono uscita.
So we had some
Clap,
technical
clap.
difficulties with
Stai
Zoom.
zitta! Stiamo registrando.
I won't cut anything of this, you know.
No, keep it. Keep it.
Oh my god, oh my god. So as we were saying.
Stai zitta con la tua voce da gallina!
Poor Lara. Poor Lara.
Just kidding, I love you.
Mamma mia!